Yes guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be running you through a full day of eating post-show on a rest day on this new reverse diet setup. Okay, so the post-show period, as we know, is a super important period to nail down. It's going to dictate really like how successful your off season is going to be. Obviously we want to minimize body fat post-show and make sure we're setting ourselves up for a super productive off season. But at the same time, when you are post-show, you do need to have some kind of level of flexibility, introduce maybe some new foods that you haven't had in quite some time. So that is exactly what we have done, and that's exactly the way my reverse diet is set up. So I'm going to run through all that with you today. Now, before I even stepped on stage, I actually sent Kuba a suggestion of like my post-show meal plan with like some foods in there that I hadn't had in quite some time and I thought I would really enjoy. So I sent that across to him. He made a couple of tweaks to it and sent it back to me, and I was actually super fucking happy with how it's been. And I've been following it now for the last like week and a half, and it's absolutely mega. I absolutely love it. Okay, so just generally what we kind of have done post-show is we've upped the protein quite a lot. So normally I would have 150 or 175 gram portions of meat, like chicken and mince and stuff like that. Whereas now he's kind of upped those all to 175 pre or post workout and 200 grams in the other meals. So protein has been raised up quite a bit. I think I'm sitting at around 60 grams extra protein per day relative to where I would have been at the end of prep or in the couple of weeks leading up to that, right? So much more protein, and this is just for satiety. Protein is the most filling macronutrient, so it's just to make these meals a little bit bigger and fill me up a little bit more, and obviously just kind of keep appetite at bay, so to speak. Also, what we have done is we've kind of introduced a lot more kind of vegetables, right? Kuba just said to me 300 grams of veg per day, mate. So I've kind of been adding little bits of vegetables and like a vast variety of vegetables like across the board. Obviously, when you are heading into a show, you're just having like your 75 grams of green beans with a meal, or you're just having like your lettuce, you're just having strictly what's on your plan. There's no like additions in there at all. Obviously, vegetables do contain calories, but having some extra veg throughout the day to again increase satiety and make your meals taste nicer is much better than just overeating on like junk food or just like overeating on carbs or whatever, right? So I've added in some veg to all meals. Now, what I've been doing is just making sure that that veg is consistent. So say, for example, my meal number 2 now, I'll have like half a chopped tomato, and I will just keep that consistent all the time. So I know I'm at like the exact same level of calories from that veg, so to speak. But it's nice to get a variety of veg back in there, a variety of micronutrients, good for your gut, good for digestion. And actually, if anything, my digestion has been the best it's been in fucking weeks. And I reckon that is just because of the kind of variety of my vegetables now relative to kind of where it was, a couple of weeks ago, right? So we've already had meal 1, guys, as I had it quite early at like 6 o'clock. It was still dark, people were still asleep in the house. So that was 20 grams of oats, Flavins of course, 70 grams of JP Cream of Rice, chocolate fudge, haven't had this in a while, slaps quite hard. 50 grams of the JP cereal milk whey, I actually really fucking like this as well. And then 150 grams of blueberries, okay? So that was meal number 1. I'm gonna throw the macros for that meal up on the screen now as well, guys. And we're just gonna get meal number 2 prepared now. So this is probably the only like very new meal on my plan. All my other meals, they're kind of like the same but different as they were before, because they are just the foods that I enjoy eating. I kind of kept my meal plan very, very similar to the way it was because they're all the foods that I enjoy anyway. So I didn't really see the need to change it. Obviously, I just have more of them now, which is great, like just more carbs, more fruit, etc. So we're gonna just prepare meal number 2 now and show you what we are having for that. So stay tuned. We need to get a better pan for these eggs. You know that? I need to get a better pan for these eggs. Right, guys, so meal number 2, new meal on this plan. Absolutely fucking love this meal. It is delicious. So we've got 100 grams of sourdough bread. We've got 50 grams of avocado, 75 grams of smoked salmon, and we've got 1 whole egg and 200 mils of egg whites. So avocado, I just mash up salt, pepper, bit of garlic, mint, and then I have a little bit of salt, pepper, and smoked paprika in with the eggs, right? So I'm just gonna piece all this together. I actually have some tomato with this meal as well. Spoon that avocado on. Beautiful.
Honestly, guys, you wouldn't get this in a restaurant. Now, the avocado wasn't very ripe this morning, so it's not mushing.
Yeah, mine was the same.
It's not mushing like it normally does, but look, we'll just make do with what we have. Get every last gram of that. Scales on for our smoked salmon. This smoked salmon isn't as nice as the one we had at home, Chloe.
Oh, really?
Yup. There's just something about the English meat and stuff. I might actually like pull down the smoked salmon and up the avocado, or maybe even add an egg, because 75 grams of smoked salmon is actually a ton. That's what I used to have when I used to have this meal years ago, but it actually seems like quite a lot now, as you can see.
If you're only having 2 pieces of bread.
Yeah, like when I was at home, we had like a much smaller sourdough loaf, and I was getting like 4 slices of bread out of it, and that was very handy, because then I was actually getting like, you know, a small amount of salmon on each meal, or on each slice of bread, whereas now I just have like the bread absolutely fucking lathered up in the salmon. And then the last step here. Now, the one thing about this meal, guys, right, is it's absolutely delicious, but it takes me about half an hour to prepare. And if anyone knows me, you know that I like things that are convenient, okay? Anything that makes my life easier or is quick or convenient, especially when it comes to food, is just like the one for me. So the fact that this meal takes me like half an hour to prepare, obviously right now I'm quite hungry, and you know, we're post show and I'm enjoying this because I haven't had it in quite some time, but I give this like 8 weeks max, maybe even 6 weeks to be honest, because I'll start my push-up in like 6 weeks. And at that stage, when food gets a little bit higher, you know, you're more on the clock with your meals and stuff like that, digestion becomes a little bit more of a priority. This is going to be the first meal I'm going to sub out, but for now, it's kind of nice to spend the time making the meal, sitting down enjoying it and stuff like that. But I know once my food gets a little bit higher, this is going to be the first one I'm going to sack off. I'm not even going to have the tomato with it today, because I'm just going to eat it. So that's meal number 2, guys. I will pop the macros for this meal up on the screen now. Chloe is moving the camera. Which way is he going? And macros for the screen up the meal now. So obviously it's a little bit higher in fat, but you know, my meals throughout the rest of the day are a little bit lower in fat, so it's all good. But yeah, I'll enjoy this now, and we will catch up with you guys for meal number 3. Okay guys, meal number 3 here. We have got 100 grams of pineapple for that digestion. You already know, I have 2 forks. Okay, that can be my pineapple fork. Fucking hell, head's gone. And then we've got 200 grams of chicken. We've got 100 grams of jasmine rice, 75 grams of green beans. And then we also have 50 grams of tomato in there and 50 grams of beetroot. Beetroot just hits different. I haven't had it in so long. It's actually, my last prep was the last time I had beetroot. And yeah, it's just so fucking good, guys. Lots of health benefits to beetroot as well. It's actually good for keeping the blood pressure down. So I'll also probably have a touch of the no added sugar ketchup with this meal as well, if I actually need it, to be honest, because I do actually find that with the variety of vegetables here, this actually tastes pretty fucking nice on its own. So may just like eat the beetroot and a little bit of this meal and then add some ketchup in at the end. But that is meal number 3, guys. So I'll put the macros for this up on the screen, of course. I also have a lovely Americano from Costa, which Chloe picked me up very kindly there a while ago. So I'm gonna eat this meal now, and then the 2 of us, as we are on a rest day today, are going to go up to Asda and do a little bit of a shop, and we may potentially show you what we get there, because tomorrow we're going to do what I like to call an off-plan, on-plan meal. So where we just have an off-plan meal, but we macro match it to the calories and macros that are already on our plan. So that might be another video, or we might just show you in this video, but stay tuned for that, guys. Alright guys, so we are back for meal number 4 here. We have got 40 grams of oats, 60 grams of cream of rice, 150 grams of berries, and then we've got 20 grams of almond butter. So that is meal number 4, guys. I would normally have this as meal number 5, but me and Chloe got back from Asda a little bit later than anticipated, and so this was just easier to just bang together. But I will have my next meal after this and then catch up with you for the final meal. We are just sitting down now to eat this meal and watching some pure bullshit the HD Muscle podcast, which, as you know, is my new favorite, guys. So going to enjoy this meal now. This is like very similar to the first meal, but just a different portion of cream of rice. The cream of rice is just slightly higher in this one. So I'm gonna make this meal into me now, and I will catch up to you in a little bit.
All right, guys, we're back for meal number 5 here, which is the exact same as meal number 3. I've already eaten the pineapple off camera, which, to be fair, is what I normally do. I normally just nibble on the pineapple as this meal is cooking, as the chicken's in the air fryer. So we got our 100 grams of rice, our 200 grams of chicken, 75 green beans, 50 tomato, and then we have just got some Greek yogurt and salsa in as our kind of topping here. So what I did with the Greek yogurt was just mix it in with some salt, pepper, garlic, and smoked paprika. I think I used a touch too much garlic in it though, as it tastes a little bit too strong for my liking. There was only like a very small amount left in the pot of yogurt. But if you haven't tried a little bit of Greek yogurt and salsa as your topping in your chicken rice, definitely do. It's nicer in mincing rice, but we just have all chicken today. It's like just sour cream and salsa that you get in like a burrito bowl in a proper burrito place. So I'm a big fan of that. It's something me and Chloe were having a lot kind of towards the start of prep, and then we just kind of cut it out as our calories were getting lower, but definitely worth the try. So give it a lash here.
Very garlicky.
Okay, no, the Greek yogurt is much better now that it's like mixed around with everything else. So beautiful.
Beautiful. How's the finger?
Second fucking time today. So earlier when I was cooking my chicken, I like burnt my hand off the side of the air fryer there, but it wasn't really that bad. And literally just when I finished the chicken there, I like pulled out the drawer, the side of the air fryer, like left it there, grabbed the lunchbox, brought it over, and instead of just like taking the tin foil out of the air fryer and sliding the chicken in like I normally do, I just decided to like pick up the side of the air fryer and just put my finger straight on it, and I fucking burning my thumb alive. So it's just stinging now. It's just an annoying soreness. I feel like it's gonna like blister now and pop, which is not gonna be ideal, but it is what it is. It is what it is, guys. So yeah, an injury we didn't need this early in the off season, but we move. How are we, my people? So meal number 6 here, the final meal of the day. We've got the D-Max special: chicken, rice, banana, almond butter, and of course some pink salt and ground sweet cinnamon in there as well. So we've got 75 grams of rice with this meal. It's the smallest meal of the day, more or less, and I think this is definitely something I'm going to continue to do in the off season. Again, learning lessons from my previous off season, I always had a fairly large meal before bed, and it was like oats, like a big bowl of oats, and I was finding that I was eating that meal and I was waking up the next morning and I felt like, oh my god, this hasn't digested at all. I might wake up with like pains in my stomach. So towards the end of my last push-up, I actually substituted that oats out for cream rice, and that kind of did help. But I just find rice just sits the best. You know, meat and rice meals just sit the best. They just digest the best. They digest the quickest. So moving forward in this off season, I'm going to make sure my last meal is always like a chicken and rice meal, and ideally chicken, rice, banana, and almond butter without the veg, because again, I just find it sits much better and digests quicker for me. And I'm going to try and keep this meal as my smallest meal of the day. So, you know, my first 3 meals, first meal when I wake up in the morning, and my pre and post workout meal, they are going to be my largest meals of the day, and I'm going to allocate the majority of my carbs, and obviously like speak with Kuba about this. But I just find when it comes to digestion and particularly sleep, I don't like having a big meal right before bed. So last meal for the remainder of the off season is going to continue to be the smallest meal of the day. And if I can, to be honest, I'll try and keep it at like 100 grams of rice max. And even if that means I have to have 150 grams of rice in 5 other meals throughout the day, that's just the way it's going to be, because I genuinely think, you know, when I'm at this stage of the evening, I'm kind of sitting down, I'm chilling out, I'm not doing much movement. You know, after I eat this meal, I generally go like straight to bed as well and just like chill out and kind of sit on the bed watching Netflix with Chloe. So small meal, digests easy, sits well, and hopefully then, you know, I wake up in the morning with like a really nice empty stomach, can do my vacuums quite well and continue to do that through the off season. And then obviously I have a big appetite in the morning for my first meal, because in the last off season I was waking up and like I just did not want my first meal, and I was waking up later and later. I was getting my last meal in later and later. That was affecting my sleep, and then I'd wake up later in the morning, and then I'd start eating my first meal later, and it just really pushed my schedule back. I want to make sure this off season I can continue to get up early and get my first meal in super early, and then last meal is nice and easy to get in. So yeah, there's the ramble anyway, guys. But that is the full day of eating on a rest day on this reverse diet wrapped up. I'm going to leave the total macros for the day up on the screen here now. A little bit lower today than they are on my training day, but I will do a training day, full day of eating on my reverse diet soon as well. So you can kind of take a look at what that looks like. But that is pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment as well. Let me know what your favorite meal of this day has been, and we will catch you in the next one.